Come on, where are we? There we are. There we are. Oh, let me turn this heater off so you guys don't have to listen to that. There we are. Oh, I gotta turn the speakers on. There we go. You don't want none of that feedback, right? Put on some gloves here so that I can mainly so you don't have to look at my disgusting infected finger. That's why. And let's see how long I can survive here without getting frozen out. I got a couple of things to work on. I've been remodeling all day, so I don't have all the lights turned on in here, so I want to see how that works, if that works better. And I'm not sure, I don't want to deal with this Corsair right now, so I'm going to move it aside. I'm going to pull the prop because I don't want that on there when it goes to weathering stage. And I'm going to move this over here. I'll be right back. See if I can move it over here without dropping. Oh, hang on. Okay. You may or may not have seen my video where I talk about these plastic shoe boxes that I get at my grocery store for $1. These are great for storing whips in. So, something to think about. What you don't want to get great at is having 20 whips. The problem is it makes them really easy when they're not all put together. You can stack them and stuff. And yeah, and you end up with this huge stack of started stuff that you need to finish sometime. Let me flip over here to Facebook so I can see. Hello? Is this thing on? Oh, I am on Facebook. What do I need to do? Oh, I need to change the view so I can see the chat thing. There we go. Okay. So, I'm watching myself. What am I doing? We're going to work on the Coral Sea. Bring this thing up here. Couple things we're gonna do. Why? Sorry. Yeah, I know I'm live streaming. Hush. Hush, hush, hush. Sorry. There we go. Okay, now it's off. So, you may or may not have been following along. So basically, this is a USS Midway kit. It's the old 800 scale. I think Rye did it originally, and this is Micro Ace boxing, but it's the same plastic, and it's kind of a toy, but it's okay. So what I've done so far is started on the island. I had to get rid of the hull numbers were actually molded into the both sides of the island and on the deck here, along with some other stuff. So I removed that stuff with my wood carving tools. How special is that? And so there, and I took and cut a big chunk of the deck out here. So there was a bunch, like a typical ship. They get modded over the years, and there were 3 modifications made to the Midway class ships, but the Midway is the only one that got the 3rd modification, which included an enlarged deck here on the angled flight deck, and these elevators are all bigger and whatnot. I'm not going to get too crazy with this thing. This to me is like the biggest change right here, and there's 2 squared off landing areas here, and I may or may not mess with those. We'll see. So I've been working on the island, putting the thing together little by little. It's lots of flash, lots of a lot of work, lots of stuff. But hey, we'll see what it ends up like. This is my brother-in-law served on this ship, and he bought this kit and asked me to build it, so that's what I'm doing. So I need to fix this right here, right? Excuse me. And I thought about it. And I think I'm going to use this milliput here and fill these in. So this is just sheet styrene, and then I went and I carved some holes in it with my knife, and I'll just so that the milliput has some place to go to grab, and then we'll see what happens. So if you've never used this stuff, it's pretty simple. It's kind of hard to get it out of the box. But so what you do is open it up here. It's epoxy putty is what it is. So you just mix equal parts together and go to town with it. So what do we need? We're probably not going to need that much, but better to have too much than not enough. You got to make sure you wrap it up really good. And I have to admit, the gloves are pretty nice for this, actually. Even though that's not really why I have them on. There are different kinds of milliput. This is the fine or super fine, the white. It's the only one I've ever used because this is what they carry at Hobby Lobby. And I don't use it that often. This is probably I don't know, third or fourth time I've used this. I don't use it often at all. Not often at all. Okay. It's a little cool down here, so I don't know. This stuff is awfully stiff. It would be sometime in the 80s, Bob. Probably just before they decommissioned or whatever they did. I think he, let's see. So he would have been in probably mid to late 80s. And the fact that you're asking that question tells me you know more about this than I do. Jeff, roll it up into a ball, throw it on a cookie sheet. 15 minutes at 350. Yeah. No. Okay, so this stuff is just knead it together, just like anything else. And so I move everything around here. I don't know if I mentioned this is going to be the last sailed in '91, right? I did say this is the Coral Sea, right? Like, did I mention that? Yeah, so he'd have been there right at the tail end of its life. I have lots of I don't know, it seems like almost everybody that I know that was in the Navy was on a carrier at some point. And maybe that's normal. I don't know. Okay. So, what do we got here? How in the heck are we going to do this? I'm not sure. I make this all up as I go along. Even the Air Force guys. Yeah, well, yours was a special situation. If you guys wouldn't build air bases on islands with volcanoes, you wouldn't have that problem. Okay, let's see. What are we going to do here? Like that, maybe? Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot, a lot, a lot. See if I got some water here. I do. I do. Wow, I could have made that. I could have used some stiffer plastic in that hole. Oh, well. Man, I think I made way too much of this stuff. That's all right. We'll have to find something else to do with it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I've got it all cut up, Bob. This was a Midway kit because there isn't any Coral Sea kit that I've ever seen or that we could find, and so he knows it's not going to be exact. And to be honest, he'd have been okay if I'd have just built it as the Midway and changed the hull number, but I'm not going to do that. So that's how I got into this mess. too bad. Probably going to have to go in here and carve this out a little bit. So he's just looking for something to put on his desk. That's all. I have a whole mess of ships. I don't build a lot of them, but I have a bunch in my stash. You know, there's my opinion, there's a couple of categories in our hobby that are require some immense skill sets. One is ships and the other is figure painting. I put both of those groups of people in a whole different ballpark than myself. Wow, that looks like that almost looks like I meant to do that. Where are my paper towels? They did it to me again. Wow, my family always comes in here and they run out of paper towels in the rest of the house, and they know that I have a stash down here, and they had me down to my last roll, and apparently they took what was left of that, it looks like. Okay, well, we'll just use this microfiber cloth here. Okay, so just taking a look over here to make sure. They must have. They swiped them. Swipe or no swiping. That's not nice. Okay, anyway. So I want to shape this stuff, obviously, before it gets, as much as I can anyway, before it gets away from me. And I'm just going to carve this down a little because I'm going to have to put some detail in here later. And I imagine it's going to be easier to do this now than then. Brett! It's Brett! How are you, Brett? Taking shape. Taking shape. Are you making fun of me? Round as a shape. I was at having breakfast with some friends years ago, and neither one of them were small guys. And the one said to the other one, "Hey, you need to get in shape." And the guy, or the one guy says, "Yeah, I'm famished or something." And the other guy says, "Yeah, you look like you're about ready to blow away or something like that." And the other guy, so then it progressed to, well, you need to get in shape. And it's like, get in shape? I'm in shape. Round is a shape. And it was, you had to be there. It was hilarious. The whole meeting in deck where oh, yes, you're right. I know I have the Constitution in its 40-page. You know what? That is like, my neighbor had one that he had built, that Constitution kit. And, oh, wow, what a beautiful kit. Beautiful kit. And you know, that was part of what they taught us in history about the Constitution and all that in elementary school back in the day when they still taught history. But I won't get into that. My wife is a teacher, and I have Put it this way, we have two completely different views of the education system. Yeah, but... And actually, you know, I will say one thing, because I think this is... my wife's been a teacher all her life. It's all she ever wanted to do. She was a parochial school teacher first, but she teaches in the public sector now because you can do what you got to do. But, you know, it's all she ever wanted to do, and she's actually talking about giving it up because it's just gotten so stupid. And out here in rural Colorado, there's no money in it at all. So you're not doing it for the paycheck anyway. And that's all I'm going to say about that. 40, that's about 30. Yes, we're all standing and running. Yeah. She looks great when she's done, though. That Constitution kit, wow. It's the 196 scale one, right? Not the 1/196, but the 96. Because there's two. I attempted to build a Cuddy Sark when I was in elementary school. The old Revell Cuddy Sark. And other than the fact that it had no rigging on it, it looked great. But anyway. You know what? I think that's going to work. The camera lags behind what you guys are seeing, so there's like a 5-second delay or something, so I don't know what you can see and what you can't. So it looks kind of ugly, but I'll file it out and sand it out and stuff later. It's you know, it's a little proud here and here, and I'll finish it out, and then when I put some walkways and stuff up here, it'll be all right. It won't be perfect, but it'll be all right. Now I'm thinking about waterlining this thing, and wow, look at all that milliput I wasted. What are we gonna do with this? Hang on. The last time I had milliput left over, I made a little Easter Island head for my kid, for my youngest kid, so that he could put it on his desk. And he looked at me like I had two heads. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Put it on your desk. So I think I'll make another one. That's why you tuned in, right? To watch me goof around with milliput. Why not? Oh wow, that looks like a parrot. Oh, it's Space Ghost. No, it's not. I am not an artist. My daughter's the artist. Oh, perfect. We'll just set him over here. All right. It lasted about 10 minutes. Oh. So do you still live on the family farm, Bob? Not many people do anymore. That's good for you. Beats burning myself with a hot glue gun. Yeah. I've never done that. So we're putting this wall up here today, and we're drilling into the concrete to screw the bottom plate into the concrete. And we burned a bit up, so we got to change the bit. And my oldest son goes to change the bit on the drill and grabs it with his fingers. And if you've ever, I mean, those things get hot when you got a bit that's trying to go through concrete, and all of a sudden you put your fingers on it. It's a rude awakening. And I get extreme amusement out of stuff like that, which makes me a terrible father, I know. Sorry. Let's see. You still have the land. That's good. That's good. Okay. I lost track of what I was thinking. I do that a lot. Oh, water lining this thing. See, I want to. Here's the thing. If I water line it, then I have to make a base for it. But it would be really cool. So, do we do that or not? I mean, you know, once you do it, you're committed. Once I take the Dremel of this thing, I'm committed. And I think I'm going to think about it a little more. You only do that once. Oh, I bet he'll do it again. Okay, so let me get this off of here. Almost time for a... Yeah. You know, am I the only one that doesn't like these green cutting mats because I keep losing stuff on them because it's hard for me to see? I have red-green deficiency, believe it or not. And so things disappear on me quite easily, especially when they hit the ground, which makes for interesting... My wife helps me a lot when I drop stuff, put it that way. Okay, I'm good with this. I'm going to set this off to the side. And we're going to do something else. Let me get the Corsair. One of the two Corsairs. Okay. In its box. And its box. Something like that. Okay, so we'll put the box over here. Okay. Make sure I don't have, you know what? Hang on a second. I'm good. Okay. So let me get these out of here. So I put the gear and stuff on this thing last night. The flaps and the gear and I don't know if any of you guys have built this kit. But man, this gear with these gear doors, these front gear doors really kind of force your hand on the struts, and it is cockeyed as can be. Which is, I mean, I'm not gonna worry about it. It's just, it's interesting to me that they're, you know, it's like the doors are forcing the struts into a certain position, and I don't have a rough picture in front of me, but I don't believe that they would design a carrier aircraft like that because, you know, these guys are coming down, and of course, you know, they're crooked and stuff, and if that thing's canted in, you're just going to snap it off. You're just going to make the problems even worse than they already are. So anyway, I don't, you know, it is what it is. I got the, what am I thinking? The, I've got another one of these to do. I've got the Dash 1 over there in about this condition. Well, it needs the gear and stuff on it too, but the rest of it, or what am I saying? I totally lost my train of thought. The other one I'm going to do with Russ Goslin. You guys, I don't know if you're familiar with Russ Goslin, but yeah, Tamiya. This is Tamiya 48. Russ Goslin and I are going to do a Tamiya 48 buddy build at some point. But that's probably going to be after Commies Fest here, because I'm going to do, I got to get, that's on March 30th, so I got to get busy on that. That's the show in Denver. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this Tamiya panel line wash. You probably are. I think everybody's seen it. It's the exact same thing as an oil wash. It's just a ready-made product. And at least that's what it seems to be. And it works fine. It works great. But it's expensive. I mean, if you're doing oil washes and you have no issue with that, just do your oil washes, because it's the same thing and it doesn't cost you $1 zillion. But it looks good, you know. But like I said, I bought it just because I was curious, because I wanted to see if it was actually different than anything else that I've ever been dealing with. And it's not. It's not. It's the same old stuff. So, oh, that thing is loose. You can do the C-base without cutting the hull. Yeah, you can. But I really like cutting the stuff up with my Dremel. No. Well, actually, that is true. But I lost my train of thought again. Sorry. Oh, I gotta glue that back. That thing's not right. Okay. Now you may notice these don't have any tail hooks on them, and that's because they're Marine Corps birds, and the Marines had a tendency to take the tail hooks off because they didn't need them. So, whoa, how did I do that? Look at that. What a mess. How in the world did I do that? I don't know. Okay. That happens sometimes. Parts fall off. That's okay. It's all okay. Anything that happens is okay. You like the panel liner because it's handy? Yeah. Oh, well, it is. I guess if it was, you know, I'm just like everybody else. I've got all this stuff, and all these kits that I may or may not build one of these days. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me to buy something brand new when I can let somebody else buy it brand new, and then later on I'll, give them 40% of whatever it cost or whatever, and still end up, and you know what? It still ends up in the stash pile for a while. It's not. I very rarely start on something immediately. You may notice I'm not very well, I'm not. I don't plan things very well. As I've said a million times, this is for me to have fun and decompress, not for me to worry about whether I'm doing it right or wrong. Or there's a lot of guys out there that are a lot better than me at this. But we're just here having fun. That's what we're doing. So, what was I got about? Yeah, right. Swap meets. Swap meets are the place to go. I can't tell you some of the things that I've gotten at shows and stuff that were just unbelievable. Last year at Commies Fest, I got a 1/350th Banner Arizona kit with all the PE in the box for $30. And I already had one to build, but I didn't have all the PE. So now I have two. But and it's a great thing for me because that's something that I have a family connection with. So so that was a really awesome find for me. My paternal grandfather's brother-in-law was Arthur Manlove, who ended up getting a destroyer escort named after him. He is one of the souls still on the Arizona, and I grew up with his wife, my great aunt, and I'm trying to remember if she. Oh wow! Look at that! Oh, look at that! Okay, I'm making a mess here. All right. Hang on here. I gotta get that off. Wow, I didn't even see that stuff. I should have changed my gloves. But there I am, being frugal again, trying to save a glove. The sponge takes some of the wash out of the lines, but you'd be surprised. It doesn't take much, and I need to get some of those clay washes and try the clay washes. But you don't need much wash. And the more I do this, and I've done, I've tried all the different styles, and I mean everything from the pre-shading and post-shading, and I honestly don't think one size fits all. I think they all have their place. But I also am, I don't know if you guys are all familiar with Paul Budsig. He does, he's got a YouTube channel called Scale Model Workshop. He had it under his own name before, but it's under Scale Model Workshop now. And he did builds for like Fine Scale Modeler and stuff back in the 80s. And he's basically an advocate of very delicate panel lines, I guess you would say, and to the point where, you know, you don't even need them all. You only need major panel lines, and he's got a whole set of videos on panel lines and stuff. And you know, the more I think about it, the more I think he's got some really good points. And that is that, you know, if you're just trying to do an aircraft at like a normal viewing distance, that you're never going to see any of this stuff. And he goes as far as sanding them all off and then putting them in and just scribing them lightly into the primer. So I'm going to try that at some point, and I might try it on the P61. You know what? These are in my way, and I still have this nasty looking finger. I got an infected nail, and it got really disgusting and whatnot, and there's no reason that you guys need to deal with that. So we'll do that. How's that? So, you know what? I'm feeling like I'm going to break this thing. So, I'm feeling like I don't want to break it any more than I already have. What did I knock off? Only 2 gear doors. But that's all right. You ever have those days you go to the bench and you just destroy everything? I do. I'm having one right now. No. Excuse me. Wow, that was bad. So, something I wanted to pull down and look at, because I haven't looked at it in a while, is one of my dozen or so whips. Is where'd it go? What did I do with it? Hang on. Where is it? Wow, did I lose it? Hang on, I'll be right back. Interesting. What did I do with it? Huh. Well, isn't that crazy? Anyway, I had an Airfix 109E that I wanted to pull out because I had started. Oh, I know where it is. Hang on, sorry. I lied. I don't know where it is. Okay. Moving on. Oh. They should be more like a texture than a crayon. Yeah. Yeah, right. Right. And I think, you know, even that said, going back to the panel line thing, is I think they're like I said, I think it depends on the situation. And I think there's times for it to be there's times for all the different stuff to work. So, wow, I can't believe that. I wonder what I did with that kit. Oh, well. Okay, so Hasegawa, 72nd scale, F16A plus. I was building this for as a gift for a certain person that shall remain nameless at this point. And I kind of got sidetracked on whether I was going to do it gear up or gear down. And I think I've decided I'm going to do it gear down. But here's something that I find rather interesting. Now, I don't hate Hasegawa, okay? I don't. But I will say that sometimes I don't understand what all the hoopla is about. And this is one of those times because there is no positive alignment on these wings at all on this thing. And I think that stinks. I would think that they would want, you know, that there would be some way to do positive alignment, but I don't. I guess maybe it's by design so that you can play with it a little bit because the wings flex on these things like crazy. I just mentioned the 109E kit to tease you. That may be true. That may very well be true. I honestly don't know where it is. I had it right here on this shelf. And I have no idea where it went. I am so looking forward to getting this room done over here so that I can go through all of the stuff that I have piled in here and get rid of it. I have a double cassette deck that I've had forever that I've still got that's sitting behind me here in this pile of stuff. But anyway, so yeah, so Hasegawa, is okay. I guess my issue with Hasegawa is they get premium money for stuff that, in my opinion, some of it is not a whole lot better than, what Monogram put out at the top of their day. And I realized there was some Monogram stuff that wasn't great, but a lot of the Hasegawa stuff isn't great either. So, wow. I guess I should have paid attention to which part number was which. 6 and 5. Okay. Hang on a sec. Oh, well, they're obviously different shapes anyway. Yeah. So the narrow one is 6. This message held for review. He was fitting to bring out model porn. Well, I guess 109s are model porn. You know, I don't build a whole lot of Axis stuff anymore. Well, I don't know. I got a bunch of Japanese stuff now. But I don't build a whole lot of German stuff anymore. I do have... I have a couple. I have the Airfix... Actually, the MPC boxing of the Airfix 124th Stuka. And I have that because my grandparents got me one of those for Christmas in 1977. And I wanted to build it again. So, and I found one at a decent price. And it still had the wrapper on it, still had the cellophane on it. And it was, you know, I don't know. I think it was, whoa, these are really sharp. They would hurt. I think I paid $30 for it or something. All right, let's see here. Wow, they don't make this easy. Come on. There we go. Remember when the F-16 came out and we were all so used to F-14s and F-4s and F-15s and stuff, and actually the 16 wasn't too weird looking. The Hornet was weird looking. I think we all thought the Hornet was weird looking when it came out. Okay. The Hasegawa Stuka is a super kit. Yeah. Well, I gotta agree with Bob. I think the 190 is a little bit much. The 190 is a pretty nice looking aircraft. Okay, hey, look at this. We might actually get this fuselage together. But you know, I'm going to sit here and, whoop, that ain't glue. Put that away. Wow, I can't believe it's Sunday. How the heck did it get to be Sunday already? Ugh. I don't hardly, I mean, this is the first 72nd I've built in a while, and it's just, wow. It's so small. All right. One thing to learn to do to try and remember to do. Always make sure you've already put everything inside the fuselage before you glue it together. Ask me how I know. Okay. You know, it's interesting. They've got all these weapons, all these stores in this kit, and I don't know that the A's could carry all of this stuff. Let's see here. Where's my... Where's my stuff? Here we go. The F-16 was like the Shelby Cobra of the fighter world. Yeah, I can dig that. I can go with that. You know, and there are things in the world that look like what they are. You know what I mean? Oh, one of my favorites is, as far as like rockets go, you know, is to me the Mercury Redstone looks like a rocket. That's what a rocket should look like. You know, and I know most people think of the V2 or something, but I don't know. There's just something about the Redstone. I have it for the Redstone, and I'm like, that's a rocket. That's what a rocket should look like to me. So, you know, in an F-16, looks like a fighter. I mean, you can't look at an F-16 and not think, wow, that's a fighter. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Form fits function, right? Okay. And the problem with these silly things is, with all these silly curves on them, it's hard to clamp. Hard to get a clamp to sit on them. So you end up sitting here holding the stupid thing. But that's all right. Now, you know how you can tell remember the movie Iron Eagle? Yeah, but I don't know that I ever actually watched it. I was just gonna say, I think this is kind of funny. And maybe it's just me, but for me, it's if I see what am I trying to say? To me, it's a sign of an old school modeler, when it's somebody who sits here and is gluing the upper and the lower fuselage halves together inch by inch, rather than how it gets done a lot of the other times. You know, the newer guys tend to just hold everything together and run it down the seam and go crazy with it and just hit it all at once. And maybe it's just my perception, but it seems the older guys tend to just do it a bit at a time. Or the guys that have been doing it a while, I guess. Seeing like this, I don't know if I'm going to get the other side done tonight, just because I want to make sure it's all nice and tight. Like this nose, this nose is not. It doesn't even really line up at the tip. Well, it does, but it's got like a. There's something wrong with the very tip. Anyway, doing that, arguing with daughter when I realized I forgot the cockpit. Because the old were too warped to glue and wire. That's true. That is true. So Jeff, you forgot to put the cockpit in because you were arguing with the daughter and gluing the fuselage at the same time. You know, I've said it a million times, and you guys probably all know this, but I am not a perfectionist contest builder. I've been doing this a long time. I've entered a lot of contests. I have one medal in my case. And you know, it was in a lightly populated category. Which I guess I'll say that. And I love contests. But I am not. Wow, come on, Clamp. I am not. Okay, fine. You win, Clamp. I give up. I'm not a perfectionist, I guess. We're just here gluing plastic together, having a good time. That's what we're doing. Oh, I'm trying to think of some other channels I like. I don't know if you guys watch QDC. He actually put out another video the other day. I hadn't seen a video from him in a long time. And he put a video out. And it was on that Mark IV, the Tamiya Mark IV. World War I tank. Speaking of World War I, if you have not gone and seen what was that thing called? Wow, I can't forget. Anyway, I went and saw it. It's the it's the one that the Lord of the Rings Wingnut Wings guy did for the 100th anniversary of World War I, where they took all that archival footage and took and did some sound overlays and it was pretty incredible. I took my whole family and they all enjoyed it. Even my youngest. I have my youngest is 14 and he enjoyed it. My daughter, who just turned 18, enjoyed it. Even my wife enjoyed it. I think I don't know if enjoyed it's the right term. I think they were all I think they all found it informative. Put it that way. All conflict is horrible, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say all conflict is horrible, but that war was a mess. All wars are a mess, but that war was just ridiculous. And it was a ridiculous war for ridiculous reasons. And the whole situation was just sad. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But man, those airplanes are a pain in the butt to build. So anyway. All right. Hey, look at that. I think it's together. I think it's together. So you may or may not know I have the Monogram Models Clubhouse page, and I try and keep a Monogram build going at all times, specifically for that page. And I don't. I don't have a Monogram build going right now because I'm waiting. I have a DO 335 in the mail. It should be here hopefully soon, but it's coming from Canada. So anyway, so that's what I want to build. That's what I'm gonna. That's my next thing. Ooh. I bet. Look at that! I almost forgot to put the gear well, the nose gear well in. I need to do an update video on current B50. Are you building the Monogram, the big one? That's a heck of an airplane, man. Heck of an airplane. I saw the one at the SAC Museum in Omaha. Yeah, I've seen it twice, I think, but wow, that's a pretty plane. I don't have a B-58. I have the 36 as far as a Monogram. I do have the AMT XB70. And that thing's a little... Actually, it's still in the shrink wrap. I haven't even taken the shrink wrap off, but that thing's a little scary. I do not see... Where is the wheel well? I do not see the wheel well in here anywhere. Are you kidding? There's those. Wow, I'm missing the wheel well. That's nuts. How did I do that? Yeah, Monogram. Wait. Oh, you're doing the Southeast Asia. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You're gonna need a lot of paint. C11. Wow, did I lose? I think I lost the gear well. This is D. That's B, so this would have been C. Well, I guess that makes my mind up there. Gear up it is. I guess when you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice, right? Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I mean, you look at something, I think the F-16 was like really well, I think it's pretty obvious that it was kind of the end of that whole 50s generation of jets that were just insane machines that were, you know, some of them were a little more than bricks with big giant engine stuff in them. Incredible stuff. So I guess I can pretty much do what I want with this, huh? That one's pretty tight. This one, on the other hand, oh, that's pretty. Well, now that I got it glued together, I guess it's pretty tight. Okay. Well, that's good. So, did the natural metal on one last year until I bought it. Oh, wow. So it goes together pretty good. I'm looking forward to the B36, I think. That's a monster. You know, I've got the B29 with the big Ed PE set. And I pretty much got the interior. All the interior PE pretty much is all done except for the color stuff, because obviously you don't want to put the color stuff in before you paint it. But it's been I got burned out on it like 4 years ago, and it's sitting up on a shelf in the box. And yeah, the Phantom was called the Flying Brick. I love F4s though. Man, smoking like a pig, but man, those things are awesome looking. Wow, look at that. Hey, it's starting to look like an F-16. I better be careful. I might finish something. Wow, I wonder what the heck happened to that nose gear well. That just blows me away. I must have threw it out and didn't even realize it. That's just crazy. Huh. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm not... I guess I could say that the F-35 is kind of growing on me, but I was certainly not a fan of the looks at first. And you know now what they're talking about, the F-15Z or whatever. Or they're talking about a new version of the F-15. That's that really doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. And I'm you know, it's all that stuff is, there's all kinds of politics involved and a lot of that stuff. So hey, look at that. Well, that don't look half bad. It's getting cold in here. I don't run the heater when I'm recording or live streaming because it's really noisy and loud and obnoxious. So, wow, that looks pretty good. All right. Well, I'm going to put this back in here. What did I accomplish? I'm really curious as to where that 109 is, what I did with it. So I'm going to have to find that at some point. And figure out how I'm going to... Here's a project that will never... Here's a project that won't die. I started this a couple of years ago, and I have been filling and sanding and filling and sanding and priming and filling and sanding and priming and filling and sanding on this thing off and on for a couple of years now, and there's a part of me that just wants to throw some paint on it and be done with it anymore. But I don't. I just keep filling and sanding it. But it's just one of those things. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm kind of beat after doing all this construction stuff and whatnot. So I think I'm going to go watch a movie. That's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go make a cup of tea and watch a movie. So, hey, thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do it again next week. And, yeah, as always, take care of the people you love. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Later, Jeff. See, this is... Thanks, Bob. You have a good night, too. See, this is the funny part because it's like, where's the off button?